Hey guys, so today's video is going to be another vegan recipe, and I think this one's going to be a little interesting. I wanted to start this series as a way to not only share recipes that I love and have made many times before, but also to kind of motivate me to make new things every once in a while, and this is definitely the latter. So today I'm going to be making kimchi mandu, or Korean dumplings, and I have made mandu before, but I've never tried making them vegan. So pretty much I'm just going to use my regular recipe and substitute a whole lot of stuff for vegan things. We're just going to see how it turns out. So please bear in mind when you're watching this that I'm a beginner at this just as much as you are. So if you think that I should have used something different or done something differently, please do, because I'm no expert. Okay, let's give these vegan kimchi mandu a go. So here's what you're going to need to make these dumplings, or at least what I think you're going to need. I don't know the quantities I'm going to be using just yet. It's all going to depend on the texture and how they're holding together. I also might add some random things in if the flavor isn't quite right. So if I do that, I will add it in, of course, to the recipe. And of course, I will let you guys know the quantities after I'm actually done making these. So first off, we have our beautiful silver beet. This is my leafy green of choice because it came out of the garden today. You can use any leafy green that is cheap or in season where you are. Then we have kimchi, delicious kimchi, some seasonings. I just have out soy sauce and salt. I might end up adding some other things, we'll just see how it goes. Then we have our aromatics. We have onion, ginger, garlic, delicious. Of course we're using those. Next up, tofu. This is a lot of tofu. I'm not going to be using all of this. I just have it all out for the purposes of filming this part of the video. And last but definitely not least, we have our little dumpling pastries. These are obviously pre-made and I get them from the local Korean supermarket. So if you can find these, I highly recommend it. They're so convenient and so cheap. Really, really easy, and they have only wheat flour, water, and salt in them, so they are vegan. Okay, so here's what I think we're gonna need. We'll see how we go with this. Just really quickly, I completely forgot about sesame oil, so also add a little bit of sesame oil in. It's delicious. There's been a bit of a change of plans with this guy. We've realized that we're not going to be cooking our filling this time around. Usually when you use meat, you would cook up the onions with the meat, but since we're not doing that this time, we're not going to use an onion. So instead we're going to use a little spring onion. Okay, update over. So there are two things that you're going to want to do to prepare to cook. The first is to cook your leafy greens. It doesn't look super appetizing, but this is what all of that silver beet cooked down into. I'm sure you guys know, working with leafy greens, that a whole lot of them cooks down to pretty much nothing. And the second is you're going to want to remove a lot of the liquid from your tofu, because one of the really important things about dumpling fillings is that they are not too wet. So here I have 50 grams of tofu, and about 10 minutes before you want to start cooking, you're going to want to chuck down some paper towels and then put something heavy on top of them. So I'm using my kimchi for this. Just press it down a little and leave it for a while to drain out a lot of that liquid. On to the first step of making your dumpling filling. Cut up your ingredients roughly. Obviously they will be blended, so it's not too important, but just make sure, especially the ginger and garlic, are like kind of small, because you don't want anyone coming across a huge lump of those. Yeah, then we're going to put them in this here blender and zizz them up. Also with the kimchi, very important, you don't want much of the kimchi liquid, because once again, a very important component of dumpling filling is not being super liquid. So we're going to use a spoon to just spoon out the solid parts of kimchi and leave the liquid. Okay, so we've blended up all of our ingredients except for the spring onion, and we did a taste test and it's a little bland. I think it's the tofu that is, because tofu by itself without anything else is quite bland. So what we did is put in a whole bunch more ginger, as you can see, and actually 3 teaspoons of the kimchi liquid that we carefully strained out before. So yeah, this is how it's looking now. My main advice is just taste test it once it's blended and see what you think it needs, and then add that. So as I've been saying throughout this entire video, consistency is really important for your dumpling filling. This is what you're going to want it to look like, much more like a paste than a sauce. So if your dumpling filling is much more liquid than this, try putting in about a teaspoon of corn flour at a time and mixing it up and seeing where that gets you. But yeah, it's really important it should look like this, otherwise you're going to have soggy, falling apart dumplings. We are ready to start the next stage, and here's what you'll be needing for that. We have our pan with a little bit of water in for the steamer. Then we have our, of course, the mixture. We have our little steamer. Now, this is a bamboo steamer, and if you have one of those, that's great. But if you don't, there are plenty of ways to make a DIY steamer from kind of more classic Western kitchen tools. So do look that up if you don't have one of these. Then we have a glass of cold water, and that's to stick the top of the dumplings together. And we have our dumpling papers and a dry surface to make the dumplings on. Let's get this show on the road. Just realized I didn't explain our steamer liner, so you might be wondering what the silver beet leaves are doing in the bottom of our steamer. That is a lining. When you cook directly on the bamboo or steam directly on the bamboo, the dumplings will stick to it. So you want a lining, and often people will use leafy greens for this. So cabbage, lettuce, and in this case silver beet, because like I said before, we've got a lot of it in the garden. So here's how to make a dumpling or put a dumpling together. First, get your dumpling paper, get your glass of water, and spin it around so that all the edges of your dumpling get wet. There we go. Pop it on your dry surface. Get a small teaspoon of filling and pop it kind of slightly lengthways like a burrito. Then fold together, pinch the middle, so like this, and then pinch along the sides to the bottom. There you go. There are plenty of ways that you can make super fancy looking, like pleated dumplings and things. I'm not that good at this, so this is what you get. So here is a batch ready to go in to the steam. As you can see, we don't do very many at a time because it is better if they don't touch each other, because they will stick together when they steam. So I'm only doing 6 in this round. Let's put them in the steamer. Okay, here they are in the steamer, and what we're going to do is pop the second level of our steamer on top to keep the steam down at the bottom, to make sure that it's all concentrated in the right place, and then steamer lid goes on top to, of course, keep the steam in. Okay, they should take about 8 or 10 minutes, but just check on them after 8 and see how they're going. It really depends on the heat that you have your water at. We have ours on kind of a medium simmer. When your dumplings come out of the steamer, they should look something like this. I realize mine aren't the prettiest, but they're going to taste just fine, I hope. So the next thing I'm going to do is make some dumpling sauce. Now, normally how I would do this is just make a really simple Japanese dumpling sauce, which is vinegar and soy sauce, 50% of each. So if you want to do that, and if it's already a little too kimchi-y for you, then do that. However, today we have some of the kimchi liquid left over that we got rid of from our kimchi for the dumpling filling. And so I'm going to mix that with a bit of soy sauce instead. And here's our finished product. Some not the prettiest dumplings in the world, but I think they look alright. And some delicious kimchi dipping sauce. I have tried one, and I will say I think they're really, really good. I'm actually really pleased with how they've turned out. The filling is a really nice consistency, I think, so if you get that paste-like consistency, I think you should be good to go. Yeah, I think they're really delicious. Lots and lots of flavor from all that ginger and all that kimchi. If you try making these, as always, please let me know how they go, and I hope that you enjoyed this recipe and you will enjoy eating these as much as I'm going to. Right, until next time, peace!